I don't think anyone expected the double upload today, but we have a procrastinator's guide to do. So as a bonus video, this is going to be a little bit less scripted than normal. So today, hello everyone, Burb here. Let's talk about Taurus Cup as fast as possible. I'm trying to get this out as soon as possible because, the CM registration day is tomorrow, so I hopefully will give you at least a few hours for you to build some aces before what I would call is my cutoff with the anti-frustration plan. I understand if you're going to leak a little bit in days, do what you can, try to get 3 passable Umas, and then let's move on because the Gemini Cup is rapidly approaching as well. It's only 2.5 weeks away because they moved that one up as well. So registration day is tomorrow. If you go and spend a day or two additional getting your passable Umas, that's perfectly fine. But the goal of this guide is to give you enough information to go and backdoor your way into a finals and give you a chance, okay? So the agenda for today is I'm going to speed run the overview video with some bits and pieces from the various role guides that will give you enough information for you to go and build 3 passable aces that can possibly get you into a finals. It's some good fun too. I try to go this as fast as possible. Almost absurdly fast. It'll take me about 5 minutes. And then I will give you a few builds for characters that I have run in my testing that were able to function in room matches in particular. So basically these 6 characters, I find you can do a run or 2 and they will at least give you a chance of winning at that point. And then after that, just a little testament to say, hey, this is a way that you can go and make this CM still soulful for you, even though it may be frustrating that you are building Umas very close to the registration deadline, okay? All right, so the full guides are available. This is obviously going to be really quick. If you're interested in that, the one I would suggest the most to go is the End Closer guide. I am most proud of that one. It is very, very comprehensive. It is deceptively long. If you don't care about the character section, the End Closer information is only in the first 20 minutes. So if you're interested in that, I do talk about a lot of mechanics in the different role guides, but I understand it's 2.5 hours. So what I'm going to do is compress down and at least give you a gloss over of it in about 5 minutes or less. So I'm going to grab a drink of water, as always, and then let's talk and speed run Taurus Cup. Y'all ready? Let's begin. This is the Japanese Derby. It's a left-handed Tokyo 2400 track. It's a medium track with standard distance, Tokyo Racecourse, firm, sunny, and spring runner are your greens. Now, I updated from 700, 500 stam guts to 800, 600 stam guts because of the dueling mechanic, which just basically gives you some bonus speed. The gold recovery is there for that dueling, as well as debuff protection and rushed. If you are a late searcher, you can go a little bit lower than this, and End Closer needs right about at it. And if you are a front or a pace chaser, you probably want to get about 850 to 875 due to spot struggle or your HP conversion rate. The Derby track is pretty standard. The 2 things of note really are there's so many uphills that power is very, very important. Corners and straight skills work perfectly fine, and most importantly, the final corner is slightly after the spurt, which means that basically this is a pseudo corner 4 track. 777 is also after this, which means Christmas Oguri does not get her speed carry over component. She is still very, very, very good. She's just not the absolute monster she was last CM. That being said, Double Dominator Christmas Oguri will be a very annoying thing. However, you will find that End Closers kind of match her, which means that this may not be as popular as before. However, if you have Christmas Oguri, she is still a very good character to build. You still get about 3 lengths of an advantage, which is more than pretty much every single other character in the game. The inherit on every single person in this CM is Red Maru Alt Red Shift. You get this on frontrunners and on End Closers and anyone in between. The reason is that this entire CM is about going and getting into 5th place or better and then using that advantage with your late race speed to go into 1st place because you have simply hit Red Maru plus whatever other thing that you're giving. The front runners want to get into 1st place and still get angling and scheming for that 0.4, and the late surges and End Closers probably want to get a Measure of Dober alt for the 0.4 in 5th place in particular, but also to make it so that 6th place is available to them so they can pass into Red Maru alt. Red Maru alt is technically a little bit delayed, but it doesn't really matter. Now, your secondary inherits probably want to be some sort of speed, some sort of late race speed. If you're in front runner, you obviously want to do the speeds, the ones that work from 1st place, like Bark Roll of Blessings and Lights of Vaudeville. Now, if you're anyone else, you can go and get stuff like Triumphant Pulse, or Behold Thine Emperor's Divine Might, or Ardent Alt, or Sedona Diamond Alt, etc., etc. Now, if you know what you're doing, you can go and lobby gamble. If you're a Pace Chaser, you can go and put Dober Alt to try to hit the 0.4 from 5th. If you are a late surger, you could go and grab like something like an El Condor Pasa for your backup acceleration, but you need to know what you're doing in order to do that. C4 speed does not work. This is something that's very important. Do not go and put a Brian Inherit or a Measure McQueen Inherit, because it will be completely eaten by the acceleration zone if it procs on time, which you want it to proc on time. So instead, grab the ones that work on the final straight instead. Otherwise, again, corners and straights both work. Your corners will be your speed carryover skills with possibility speed carryover. Rather, your straights have a chance of being clipped. However, they also have a chance of basically pace breaking you if you are not a front runner, pace down breaking yourself. And for pace down breaking, for guaranteed, near guaranteed, is Umastan. So on lates and end closes in particular, Umastan has additional value. Pace chasers, it still has value. And of course, front runners is just an efficient skill. So Umastan is good if you're able to grab it. Now, Daring Strike is the bread and butter for end closers. It's near required, I would say. Try to borrow it if you can after you get your passable Uma, because that skill is just ridiculous and it's about 35% better than every other mid-race skill in the game right now. If you're in the front half of the pack, Killer Tunes is going to be really good. So that's basically fronts and pace chasers, and after that it's pretty much a lobby gamble, so it's up to you based on what your comp you're running, but probably fronts and pace chasers get Killer Tunes, late surgers get Fast and Furious, and end closers of course get Daring Strike. The only secondary acceleration that's a white that I would suggest is probably Nimble Navigator, and only the white version. Do not weaken your deck trying to get No Stopping Me, and it's even borderline if the character has it in kit, but if it is cheap, feel free to grab No Stopping Me, but I don't find it necessary because you have a guaranteed 0.2 off of Marzensky Ultimate. What you're going to find is basically Christmas Augury and end closers have similar success rates because of their late race speed. Christmas Augury just has ridiculous acceleration, while end closers just have ridiculous late race speed. So a medium S end closer is going to be able to close the gap a lot on the rest of the pack. After that, late surgers and front runners are fairly equal. The thing is that if you build a really good late surger, it has a lot of success rate, and if you build a bad late surger, it doesn't have like a lot of success rate. And front runners, due to the fact that this late race is very, very, very long, you have to have a ridiculously good front runner. The reason why I'm still saying they're equivalent is because a perfectly built front runner will still be very good. If you have any problems with building your front runner, it's going to have like a near 0% success rate. So there's very few characters that you can build pretty easily with the front runner, so try to build your other characters first. Pace chasers, unfortunately, are sort of in the dead zone. The only good thing they have is they proc Red Mar Alt very, very consistently, like 99.9% of the time. Otherwise, besides Christmas Augury, they're sort of just a slower version of late closers and end closers. However, the ease of building, because of this, pace chasers are the easiest to build because they have the least amount of things that they need to grab. Late surgers are then the easiest after that because most of the stuff is on free-to-play cards and cards that are very easily added to your deck that have high race bonus. End closers are a little more difficult than Christmas Augury. Christmas Augury, you need to know how to build her at least, but end closers, unfortunately, you have to get Daring Strike on her, which means it's 5% race bonus, which makes it a little difficult, and as always, front runners are the most difficult things to build in the game, but anyone can win this CM. However, your win condition is basically to fight for the mid-race because you want to get 5th or better. If you fight for the mid-race and you grab more mid-race skills, because mid-race skills are the most important, you will increase your chance of getting 5th or better. You can consider grabbing more late race on the fronts if you care about that. However, mid-race speed skills still give you a lot of just total lengths, and you can still grab that insurmountable advantage. The further back your roll is, the more likely that if you hit 5th, you will win. So an end closer has the greatest chance of winning if they hit 5th in Red Maru Alt than a front runner. The front runners will always hit Red Maru Alt. However, they most likely will not win because they have the lowest speed. So it's harder to hit 5th the further back you go, but when you hit 5th, you have a higher win rate. So you're gambling more the further back you get. For your checklist to end this out, again, there are your stats. My minimum recommended stats are plus 50 to plus 75 for paces and front runners, and then roughly minus 50 for the late surgers. The gold recovery is very nice. If you're a little bit higher, like 900, you can just go and Radiant Star gamble. Mid-race gold skill is very, very important because it's just efficient. Secondary acceleration like Nimble is quite nice. Then after that, try to grab Umastan, more mid-race, more mid-race, more mid-race. Grab possibly a late race and a backup excel at that point. Power and wit are both useful. This is a power track, so try to get more power if you can. Stamina and Guts will lead to longer duels because the dueling mechanic will last for quite a while because of the long final straight. And then Medium S is very effective. Like it's because it's so long, Medium S, the plus 120 speed is going to be really, really nice. And of course, Firm Course Menace, the plus 60 speed helps a lot as well. So NTR is a good banner. That has been the speed run, and I think it was a little bit longer than 5 minutes, but there's just a lot to talk about. But again, hey, grab Red Maru alt, go right ahead. Here's 6 characters that I have built, at least by proxy. I had Sephiroth built the first one, but they are pretty easy to build when I have done it. So I always say 6 because I have to mention Mahona Bourbon for the frontrunners. This character has everything on it is the reason why. The problem with frontrunners is you have to build them perfectly to basically have a chance. Otherwise, you're going to be hit by a bunch of end closers just randomly hitting stuff like Red Maru alt plus off of their daring strikes. So frontrunners are quite hard to build outside of Bourbon because of this. However, if you are building the frontrunners, putting Bourbon plus your Oshi might be a way to go, and then try to go and get as much mid-race as possible on them. Oguri Cap Christmas, let's get these two out of the way. Oguri Cap Christmas, you probably build her Pace Chaser if you're building her easy for Hydrate, Corner Recovery, and Triple 7S as your trigger. She doesn't give you anything, and you would build her a standard build. Now, I suggest the Speed Power Whip build because I find it's really, really easy. Some other people suggest the, I still suggest this too, the 3-speed single stam card or 3-speed Rico with 2 wit is very good, or the 2-speed 3 wit with Rico, that's also very, very good. Oguri Cap Christmas is quite powerful with the additional acceleration. Okay, your free-to-play version is Gold Ship, and I don't think people didn't like everyone thought of this, but Gold Ship basically has 2 daring strikes in kit. If your Anchors Away is not proccing because you have daring strike, you're in 5th place, which means you're hitting Maru ult, which means you're an end closer that's hitting Maru ult, which is the goal, which means you pretty much have a very good chance of winning at that point unless another end closer hits harder, right? So Anchors Away will get you to that point. You also have the built-in gold recovery, so you do not have to run anything like Creek or anything to make things perfectly easy, or go and fish for white recoveries, and Uma stands in the kit as well to PDM break you. This character is going to just randomly win you stuff even with a end A, although getting, with an end A, with a medium A, so go and try to get medium S on this character. It's quite easy to build. You do not have to build Spurt on any end closer. The other end closer that I'm suggesting has actually NB. You can build her late if you truly do not have any time, but if you can find a singular end spark, Agnes Digital is very, very powerful because OMG, the final sprint, even if it decides to proc early, the lane movement is very useful. Now, the target speed in the late race is basically something that Gold Ship doesn't have, so you just throw a bunch of mid race on it, which she does come with medium straights, and if you're playing late surger straightaways as well. The biggest thing is that Super Stan is in the kit as well. If you have a bunch of hints for Uma Stan, it may be worth getting full Super Stan, but otherwise you just grab white Uma Stan. It's a very good early race speed skill no matter what you do. So if you're able to afford Super Stan, it's very good. This character has very good stat growth as well. Those are the 2 big things that Digiton gives you with an incredible ultimate as well. For late surgers, Measure Dober, you are gambling in the late surger position. She doesn't give you that much, but the point is that you only have to focus on mid-race speed skills because M-Pass plus Red Maru ult is all you need to win. You hope you're not rushed, because if you're rushed, I mean, the character doesn't do anything anyway, so you don't really care. So you grab as much wit as possible because you don't want to be rushed because you have 20% wit growth. You can run like 2 wit cards and you'll probably hit 1200. Grab your power, grab your speed, and then throw as much mid-race as possible. White mid-race, get Fast and Furious if you can with the free-to-play card. Go from there. Don't take All-Seeing Eyes. I don't think it is worth it at all in this particular CM. But Measure Dober hitting 0.6 and then hopefully having a very good mid-race is going to be quite nice. Other one is going to be Pasa Fantasy for a semi-separate reason, is that Condor's Fury is overtaken. I understand it's very finicky. However, when you're trying to high roll, just randomly getting a 0.8 off of Dober plus Maru plus Condor's Fury, you again ignore pretty much all the secondary acceleration options. You throw a bunch of mid-race on it, on her, and then you go from there. Rising Dragon is quite... It's weird. Rising Dragon, you need to late proc, but you don't necessarily want it to be late proc, so grab all your other gold skills first. Otherwise, it's an okay skill. You just need it to proc a little bit later. All right. 1.5 mil CC. This is the reason why I was suggesting this character. It has 1.5 mil CC, which means even if you don't get Umastan, if you grab 1.5 mil CC, it's a 1 in 3 chance of basically being Umastan. So you combine this with any sorts of straight skills, and you'll find about half the time you PDM break at this point. So Alcondra Process Fantasy kind of builds itself. It has speed bonus, no power bonus. Probably run some power sparks and some stand sparks. The last thing I'll say is that, hey, you can build your Oshi this CM. All you have to do this CM is build Marzensky Ultimate plus your specific role-based acceleration in Dober or angling and scheming for the front runners. Pace chasers, again, you're sort of left in no man's land, but most characters can stretch into late surger at the very least. If not, go and run a pace chaser. It's still perfectly fine. You grab enough mid race to get into 5th place. You grab maybe a little bit of late race if you're able to, and you have a chance of winning at that point. That is why this is considered by many to be the Oshi Cup or the Soulful Cup, because while there is Christmas Oguri, you always have a chance of winning because Marzensky Ultimate just goes and makes it so your kit works. Okay, so every character in this game has a reason to be played because they can all win. That is why this is such, honestly, a very good CM. Then again, front runners are struggling a lot because it is 700 to 800 meters of late race. The Taurus registration is tomorrow. So for everyone who is still building aces, me included, good luck and wish me luck, because I need it as well, because I'm still trying to get one ace to be good in my case. And remember that the Gemini Cup is only 2.5 weeks away this time. I'm going to try to go and get that overview video out tomorrow as well. That is what my next task is. So I hope you've enjoyed. I know this has been very fast. That's sort of the point. But this has been the Taurus Cup Procrastinator's Guide. I know some of you guys really like these. So for those here and for those still building your aces again, like I said, good luck. Take care. Burb out.